Hey y'all, it's Paul and Natasha from Nomadic-AF, and today we want to discuss some Mexican food, but it's Mexican food that most tourists and Americans and Canadians, they just don't find or they don't get or they don't even know about.
Yeah, they might even just pass it on a menu because they don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it's really worth checking out because just the typical tourist food isn't always the best, but if you get into some of these out-of-the-way local restaurants that serve these dishes, it's going to be so much better.
It's going to be a way better experience
Yeah,
for you
so
overall.
I really suggest getting out and trying some local style restaurants. Everybody's cool, everybody's nice. Talk about some breakfast staples. A lot of times, especially in all of the groups, we always see like, oh, where do you get bacon, eggs? Where can I get an American style breakfast? They just, why? Why would you're in Mexico? Just get...
Mexico has amazing breakfast. It's one of my favorite meals.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorite meals in Mexico is the breakfast. They are so delicious. So get out, find a good Mexican restaurant and get some good Mexican breakfast. And some of the ones we would suggest, me personally, chilaquiles.
Of course, yeah, that's your number one go-to.
It is the best breakfast. It is the breakfast staple in Mexico.
Yeah.
And if you haven't had it,
Try it,
100% get it. What it is, I guess you could equate it to
breakfast nachos?
juicy nachos? I don't know.
Yeah, something
but
like that.
It's a big plate of nachos that they toss in enchilada sauce, basically chili sauce.
Yeah.
It's not spicy at all.
Yeah, it's crunchy chips.
Crunchy chips tossed in sauce. You can get green or red. Neither is very spicy at all.
No.
Then they top it with either a protein of your choice, eggs, shredded chicken, steak,
Yeah,
whatever you want.
Chorizo,
which is bomb. And then they finish it off with cheese and sour cream.
Yeah, different places
Do it
ways,
differently,
but that's traditional.
chilaquiles are a breakfast staple in Mexico, and I strongly suggest getting them, right?
Absolutely. The next breakfast staple that we recommend is machaca. Machaca is something that we don't see too often, but when we do, we definitely go for it, especially for breakfast.
Yeah, and I think it's really only in the northern area. I've not seen it so much when we live in the south, but we're in Mazatlan, it's everywhere.
Norteño,
It must be a Norteño dish because I don't see it much anywhere else. But machaca is in every restaurant down here, and it's bomb.
So it's basically dried beef, kind of like, not beef jerky because it's shredded.
It's shredded, right, and finely shredded, like
super
hairs
finely
almost.
shredded. Yeah, and then they put it in a pan and kind of stew it with tomatoes and onions and sometimes chilies or whatever, some stock maybe, and just kind of rehydrate it. And they'll put it with eggs, or they'll put it with beans, or they'll just even do tacos with it sometimes.
It's a great new way to try steak and eggs.
It is,
It really is. So
it's a play on steak and eggs.
It really
me,
is, yeah. So when I get machaca, basically I'm getting steak and eggs.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, it's really good, and I think you should, if you want to try an authentic Mexican breakfast, machaca would be it. And you don't see too often outside of Mexico are molletes. It's molletes.
Something like
that, molletes.
Molletes.
Basically, they're so good for breakfast. What it is, they're a piece of French bread split open, with a layer of refried black beans, a layer of Oaxacan cheese, whatever protein you want, or no protein.
Yeah,
I get chorizo.
Chorizo is usually the top one.
And it always comes with a pico de gallo, which I guess
they bake it, right?
Yeah. Then they bake it, the breads, so it's all melty and cheesy and toasty.
It's not a healthy breakfast.
It's not a healthy breakfast, but it's a filling one for sure.
It is filling, yeah.
Always comes with pico de gallo to put on top,
Oh
and it is an authentic Mexican. They even sell it at McDonald's. McDonald's has molletes for breakfast, so
we don't recommend those.
We don't recommend those at all.
But they do have them. That's how popular
That's
they
how
are.
popular. Yeah, so definitely get molletes.
Yeah, another one that I really, really like for breakfast is more of a South thing, I think, as well. From like the Yucatan and Quintana Roo is sopes.
Sopes, yeah, S-O-P-E-S.
S-O-P-E-S, yeah. So sopes. So they're like a fried tortilla, but they're a little thicker, and they have a rim around them, and then they're smeared with black beans and then topped with like a crumbly cotija cheese or sometimes queso fresca, and then just a variation of meats or whatever, like pulled chicken or chorizo.
Yeah.
And then,
they're delicious.
Yeah, usually they have a little salad on top with sour cream and stuff, and they are so good.
And a lot of times you will see just little old ladies in their front yard cooking these up with a line of people around it.
Yeah.
I don't see these so much in any other kind of touristy gringo restaurant.
No.
But if you run into sopes on a nice little Mexican restaurant for breakfast, get the sopes.
Yeah.
They are delicious.
And off of sopes, another similar one to that is pambachus. Pambachus. So they're basically sopes, but instead of the beans being on top, they slice the tortilla open and shove the beans inside and refry that, and then top it with all that stuff. So those go hand in hand.
Anything
kinda.
like that for breakfast. It's just such a cheap, easy, delicious meal.
Yeah, and those are both Yucatan staples.
Yeah. Mostly in the South and mostly in the Yucatan.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to lunch. Lunch really is the biggest meal here in Mexico. Dinner is very late, after 10 o'clock, and it's usually lighter than lunch. Lunch is the big meal. So these are bigger portions. You're not doing a little light portion. And in a lot of Mexican restaurants, they have a menu del dia. And that is either one specialty or any of the menu items, and it's served with, what is it, a drink, a dessert.
Usually a soup or a
soup,
salad.
yeah, or salad, yeah, right on. So if you get the menu del dia, it'll come with everything. Otherwise,
it's like a four-course thing for a super reasonable price.
Yeah, usually like less than $5.
Yeah, 80 pesos maybe for a full four-course meal.
So one of the first lunches, which is our favorite, and we even get it for breakfast because we have a breakfast spot in Mexico City that serves it, is basically it's a fried chicken cutlet. Here it depends on where you're at. It's either called empanizado, which means breadcrumbs, and panzado, or milanesa. So depending on where you live in Mexico, it'll either be called empanizado or milanesa, and it's super thin chicken, or they also have pork and beef, but chicken's the best. Rubbed in breadcrumbs and deep fried. It's crunchy, it's delicious, it's so good. It comes
if you're craving fried chicken or chicken strips or whatever, this will get it.
Yep, we always get it. It's one of our favorite meals to eat.
On that same note, do not order pollo frito or fried chicken.
It's not what you think.
Yeah, they literally just put the piece of meat into the fryer with no breading. So
that would be pollo Kentucky, is what fried chicken that you're used to is called. But this is simply a breast of chicken, beaten thin and deep fried in breadcrumbs. Delicious.
Yeah. The next one we really like for lunch, and this is a Oaxacan specialty, is tlayudas. And that's a pretty difficult one to spell and pronounce. It's like Tlyudas.
Tlayuda, right.
It's tlayudas. Anyway.
This is really just in Oaxaca or
Oaxaca specialty places outside of Oaxaca.
Right.
Like there's a really good Oaxacan restaurant in San Cris even, and they have tlayudas. But tlayudas are a super thin, super big shell, thinner than a taco shell,
I'd say.
Like a crispy taco shell. And then they layer it with beans and Oaxacan cheese, and then they put it in the oven and crisp it up even more, melt all the cheese, and they pull it out, and then they top it with whatever kind of meats you want. Cecina, which is like a seasoned pork.
Yep.
They also have tasajo, which is beef, like a really aged beef.
Yep.
Also known in Oaxaca. And Oaxaca chorizo is some of the best chorizo that you'll find in all of Mexico.
Yes.
So if you go to a tlayuda place and they have chorizo, try it for sure.
Yeah, tlayudas are probably one of our, I guess I would equate it to like a Mexican style pizza on a tortilla.
Yeah.
But better, yeah.
But
and
way better.
If you can find a place that does that on the wood-fired grill, it's really even better. But then they fold it, right, into a big giant taco, In the Yucatan, I don't think I've seen it much outside of the Yucatan, but a lot of people go to the Yucatan.
Yeah.
And that's sopa lima.
I just got it a lot in
Mérida.
Yeah.
Sopa lima is such a nice little refreshing soup. And a lima, it's almost like a lime, but it's less acidic.
Yeah, it's kind of more orange juicy.
Yeah,
too.
maybe.
It's like a cross somehow.
But it's a chicken stock and lima based soup that they'll put chicken and tortilla strips and everything in. Avocado.
Sour cream.
But
it's delicious.
If you want an original Mexican, authentic Mexican soup, sopa lima.
Sopa lima.
Lima.
For sure. Another one that is, I think this one is pretty much much all of Mexico as well. It's expanded some, but originally I think it was Yucatan only as well, is gorditas. And gorditas are kind of like a taco on the go, I would say. It's a thicker kind of masa, like a corn tortilla that they cut open and stuff with
Almost
a bunch
like a
of
pita,
stuff.
like a stuffed
Yeah,
Mexican-style
yeah,
pita.
for sure. So you stuff it, and then they put it on the flat top and sear it, and then hand it to you, and you can just walk down the street and be in
this
gordita heaven.
Yep, and this is almost like the fillings, or what we talked about earlier, is the guisados. Yeah,
Yes.
because they have like 10 different fillings, and
Yeah, they have a lot of guisados that you can stuff inside your. So they'll do like a chicken tinga, for example, or you can get a bean and cheese, or the chorizo con papa, or the rajas, and you just tell them what you want into it, and they make it to order for you.
how much were they in Merida?
They were cheap. I think they were like 30 pesos.
$1.50
yeah,
each.
and they're filling.
So one or two is filling.
Oh yeah.
For $1.50
sure,
each.
Yeah.
Yeah, gorditas.
We had 3 of us and split 4, and we decided that was supposed to be pre-dinner, and we decided to skip dinner afterward.
Yeah, definitely check them out. Another soup on the list that you'll want to check out. Now, this is almost kind of like, I would say it's gringo-y, but it's a
Yeah.
good introduction into Mexican soup.
Yeah.
So in the United States, you would call it a tortilla soup.
Yeah.
But that's just trash. This is sopa azteca, like the Aztecs, sopa azteca. And it basically is a tortilla soup, but just
Yeah.
elevated beyond belief. It's
It's like a chicken stock and tomato
yeah,
base,
yeah, it's
right?
chicken stock and tomato sauce based soup, and then they'll shred chicken, tortillas. I've even had it with what's the big corn?
Hominy.
Hominy. I've even had it with hominy in it.
Yeah.
But sopa azteca. If you have somebody with you that's a little leery to try Mexican food,
yeah.
you cannot go wrong with
It's
sopa azteca.
delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah, definitely give it a try if you
Yep.
see it on a menu somewhere.
Yep.
And a lot of Mexicans use it as a pre-dinner snack
Yeah.
too, because it will even come with the menu del dia sometimes.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So the next one is going to be tostadas, which is one of my personal favorites.
They're delicious and they're
Yeah.
refreshing.
They're very refreshing. If you've had a bunch of fried stuff or something like that and you want something semi-healthy but also delicious, a tostada is the way to go. So these you can get in like Pozole places, but there are places that
They're
special-
all over, but I wouldn't get them anywhere other than a Pozole place.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, I get them at Meche sometimes.
Yeah.
But anyway, they're a crispy tortilla.
Flat.
Yeah, flat, crispy tortilla, topped with like shredded chicken or, pork or whatever you decide. And then it basically just has a little salad on it, coleslaw salad.
Or
fresh.
lettuce,
Yeah,
depending on
sometimes
where you
lettuce
go.
or cole, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have just topped on with a whole bunch of accoutrements, lime and avocado, and you just doctor them yourself. But they are so refreshing and
They
so
are.
delicious.
They're one of my favorites now. You turned me on to them, and they're slowly becoming one of my favorites.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the foods we think you should try. A lot of them, most tourists really just don't know about, and they're really missing out, I feel like, on some of
Yeah,
these good
yeah.
foods. So when you're coming to Mexico,
Look on
at
the menus for
Yeah.
these things.
and look on Google Maps and try to find a restaurant that specializes in these so you get the best experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Right on.
Bye.
Lates.